And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
There are a lot of party games out in the market, and you can see that I have quite a few of them here behind me. I like party games. The problem is there are hundreds of party games, it seems, released. Maybe not hundreds, but there are many party games released every year, and most of them are forgettable. Well, let me show you one today that I really, really enjoy, and that's a game called Off Your Rocker. Now, Off Your Rocker is not yet produced. The box that I have here is still a pretty prototype box, although it looks like it's pretty close to completion. But this game is a party game, and instead of me showing you the game, I'm going to actually just talk about the game a little bit more than normal. Now, I'm going to show you some of the components. The game comes with a bunch of these cards here. You see, these are different cards that say Disturbed, Loco, Unhinged, Bizarre, Dotty on them. And these cards are used as point cards. These cards are cards that are given to other players when they score points. And then there's two other things that come in the box. We have a timer, and then we have a box of cards. Now, this box of cards is the most critical, most important function of the game, because this is, well, most party games come with a deck of cards. But what people don't realize is that when you make a party game, that the deck of cards, when you come up with the categories or whatever it is, that's really critical. And here, they've done a superb job. So let's talk a little bit about the game. In Off Your Rocker, most of the players are patients who have some sort of mental disease. Now, this is not something that's making fun of actual mental diseases. These are things that are very strange and funny. Like, for example, I'm afraid of the color red. Or, you know, I think that I am a sports player and you are a referee who just made a bad call. And so the game is meant to be over the top, silly, and funny. The player who is the psychologist has to leave the room, and all the other players are going to draw a card from this deck, and it's going to tell them what they have, as all the players combined. So here's an example. Players are afraid of small objects. Players think they just won the Olympic gold medal. Players are obsessed with how they smell. Players think they are rapidly getting dumber. Every answer a player gives must contain a question. Players think they're currently living 100 years in the future. Players, all words spoken by players must have exactly one syllable. Every other answer by a player must contain the word bogus. Players think the psychiatrist is a criminal. Players think they are rapidly getting weaker. Players think they're a talk show host. Players are talking in their sleep. Players, each time a color is mentioned, all players will lean to the left. Players think one of the patients is a mummy. The group decides ahead of time. Each answer must contain the name of an animal. Players think they're a tour guide, and the psychiatrist is a tourist. Now, that's just a few of the different categories. I read you some of the sides, but there is a ton of cards, and each card has 4 things on it. And so what you'll do is you'll draw a card, and you'll say you're using the yellow side or the blue side. The yellow side, everybody will come together and say, okay, we have 2 options here. Which option are we going to choose? Then the psychiatrist comes back in the room. And that person then goes to people and starts asking them questions. Now, this is where the game, you really have to be on your game, because the psychiatrist has to ask questions that are interesting. But it could be anything. It could say, so, where did you go today? What is your favorite food? Why do you wear that shirt? You know, whatever question they want to ask, they ask each player. And each player must answer in the fashion of what their problem is, but not so obviously. For example, one of them says, you think that the psychiatrist is a dog. Now, if the psychiatrist comes in and says, what do you eat for breakfast today? And you say, good dog, and that's your answer, that technically fits the rules of finding the card, but that won't help you at all. Because the psychiatrist is going to guess that you're a dog. But you want him to guess that you're a dog, kind of. But you want people to think that you did a good answer. So when he says, what did you eat today? You might just say, don't worry about it. You'll get your scraps later on. Or something to that effect. And things can be really funny. Like when I mentioned players think they're a sports player and a referee made a bad call. And, they say, what's your favorite board game? And you say, I don't really want to talk to you about that right now because I'm pretty sure you won't make the right call there either. And when people get into this and when people start going off and becoming their characters, things can become really funny, which is the point of the game. So everyone gives their answers as the timer goes, and hopefully the psychiatrist will eventually guess the correct answer before the time runs out. If they do so, they get a point. Huzzah! Then all the other players in the game are going to simultaneously say 1, 2, 3, go, and everyone points at the person they think gave the best answer. If someone points at you, you get a point. Even if 5 people point at you, you get a point. But if the most people point at you, then you're the psychiatrist for the next round, which should hopefully guarantee you a point. Now, as you can see, the game all revolves around people being creative and fun and entertaining. And that's really the point of this game. The function of the game is to provide you with interesting topics. To say things like, players think they're prisoners and the psychiatrist is a prison warden. Or you think they're a police officer interrogating you and they ask you what you ate for breakfast. And, that's really none of your business. I don't have to give that my constitutional right. And people get into character, people make funny noises, and as the game progresses, you'll find this game I found really can open some people up out of their shells. So, a game of laughter, a lot of fun, and honestly, one of the best party games I have played in a long time. One that made me laugh out loud consistently and has produced a lot of memories. And those are the best party games because you can say, remember that category and what so-and-so said, and that is a place where this one really shines, off your rocker.